Alright, welcome back to another video. Uh, I've been away for a minute dealing with mental illness, but I've been currently working on trying to make an RNG game on Roblox. I got some unique aspects to it, but always wanted, always wanted to make one's a strong word. I do like the RNG games, my favorite type of slop. So right here is just me basically getting like normal rolling down out of the way. I was just following a tutorial, which I stopped eventually following it once I get later on into it. But right now, it just shows like the color. Uh, Day two. No, this is still day one. Day one, I'm still going through the tutorial, trying to get the rolling down. But I realized that this method of rolling was really bad because it would roll 6 times and then give you the last one. So like, you would like literally lose out on a good roll. And also, I'm not a mathematician, and I don't think most developers on Roblox are. I'm pretty sure they're like underage children, or just generally not people that know too much about how the luck works, which is why I always thought it's weird to do the one out of so on and so forth. But now that I've read it, it kind of makes sense. However, moving on to the next day, it's mostly the same stuff, just adding in more elements to see how often things would get rolled. And I wasn't liking it too much on like how you could roll something that was so high so often, but that's because there's not as many entries is what I'm pretty sure. And I also removed like the rolling 6 times because I didn't like it. And next clip is just showing that it's tracking rolls and there's a data store, so it's actually saving it. And each interval of 10 will give you 2x, and then 50 is 4x, and I think 100 is 6. 250 is, I think 250 might be 10. I'm not sure. I have to come back to it. I think it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then I did traits. This was mostly because I just didn't want to work on like inventory and stuff, which is like a pivotal part of it. I just really didn't want to work on inventory, so I got like traits working. And honestly, a lot of this stuff is like working with the rolling, not as simple as it is, and you have to go through jumps and bounds, like finding a bunch of forum posts, talking to ChatGPT. But after this, I set it up so cooldown reduction works on the rolls. And then in this next clip, I stopped doing just tables of the rolls, and instead, it is now set up in an actual class, and that class gets saved completely to your inventory, but it's indexed, which later on I run into a problem with the indexing, but that doesn't really matter too much. But essentially, it gets indexed into your inventory, and because of that, it can track what you have, the quantity you have, the traits it has, so on and so forth, if it's being used in the team or in the specific team that you have right now, and things of that nature. And then, yeah. Now the next part is very, very sped up footage of me going through the development, only because I'm trying to do a mixture of both, where I'm showing clips that I took throughout the days, which I think were days 1, 2, and 3. And then this is another day where I'm trying to figure out how people do transparency. And I'm aware how it's done now, but at the time I was trying to do it with just Roblox Studio, and that was not a good idea. And it can work sort of. It just looks really bad. And I spent a lot of time doing a bunch of UI things when I should have just accepted that I could hop into GIMP, hop into Photoshop, hop into something, and basically make this very wide transparent or gradient transparent that stretches out. And that stretching out is what gives the appearance of things glowing, and like doing that. And I feel like with a lot of the games, they do a lot of these glowing effects, and people really like them. And because people really like them, I was trying to figure out how to do it, and eventually I kind of stopped trying to figure out how to do it. That makes sense. All right, and the next part is just me going into making the menu, essentially, which is just a frame in the background with a grid and then putting buttons in it. The hardest part of the entire UI thing is I am working with another person on and off when he feels like it to make the graphics for whatever he feels like doing. And the biggest problem is you have to do a bunch of math in order to get the actual length and width of everything, which if you use scale, then you need to know how big the thing is. And because you use scale, it doesn't tell you the actual pixel width. You have to click the frame itself, and then it will show you the width and length, which is kind of frustrating and annoying. But this is just me going through doing a preliminary of like this is what the menu should look like and things like that. And nothing really more gets done. I think I start editing so current rolls are done on top of the rolls, and then that current roll is out of 1,000, so you can see when you get the 2x mult, the 4x mult, the 6x mult, the 8x, and the 10x. And then I also will start to add an experience bar at the bottom. I'm pretty sure I go through a few designs trying to line it up. I'm just not sure which one I ended up doing on this specific one. I know which one I ended up doing completely because I'm a week out from this. And making the XP bar was not as hard as it seemed. I still am running into one issue, even though I've gone through and looked and asked, which is essentially when it is too low, it will clip. And even with doing a canvas, this and that and whatnot, it just doesn't work as it. And then this is just showing everything after essentially day 7. This isn't the end of the day 7. This is the beginning of day 7. But at 10, it will show you the 2x mult, and it, tracks your current, and does everything. The XP bar moves, and it does go back down. You'll see the clipping issue here. But essentially, I feel like I got a lot done. And and moving on from the rolling, I did get leveling up and everything sorted out, and the person did come in with assets. Thanks, Cryo. And essentially, you can reset your points as much as you want, and you can spend them however you want, and those will directly boost the stats on the back end for the calculations. This was just something easy to get out of the way before I did something more difficult. Thanks for tuning in. Video was a bit rushed, only because I said I would come out with it, and it wasn't so much procrastinating. I was just not prepared because I didn't really have gameplay to show. Maybe if I showed, probably show like some sort of clip from something recent to show like at least where I am and what I've been doing. But there's no real gameplay. There's only rolling and collecting. I've run into a big problem with how border chance works and border rolling. I don't know how it actually works in all these games. And they make it seem like it's added onto the table, but I'm pretty sure it's not because you have a specific border chance, so it would be kind of weird to do that. But maybe it is added. I'm not sure. I thought that it would be roll the base one and then roll the border after, but when I'm doing that, it's showing that you get the border stuff way too easily, even without any border chance. You just will randomly get like the best one easily, and that's not typically what you want. I don't want somebody to out of 1,000 roll something that's like allegedly uh 200 billion chance of getting. Like it doesn't really make too much sense, so I have to look into it. But thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. I'm gonna try to make more videos. Try to get this game out. I didn't even show that the shop I did. I did the shop, the leveling, and now I'm onto the inventory because I wanted to avoid the inventory so much because I knew doing the inventory would be the bulk of all of the work of like the game outside of the rolling. And then once the rolling's done, I have to move on to the actual not combat, the actual gameplay, which I won't be doing turn based. I'll be doing something else, but I do have to get into that too. Thanks for staying tuned. Probably get another video out in a few days, maybe. I'm gonna keep working on this as well.